All right. Well, good morning, everyone. You've reached On the Fly with Kai, and today is Thursday, December 9th. The time has flown by. This year is almost gone, but I'm so excited. We've got a couple of episodes left in this season. And today I get to bring to you tips, tricks, and hacks from entrepreneurs from a gentleman that I had the pleasure of meeting, gosh, way back in 2016. Kind of networking out there on the scene in the Silicon Valley area. And at the time, he was with Action Coaching. And, that can be a very crowded space, but he rose to the top to the 3% of all of their coaches, which is amazing. But he's gone on to actually own his own coaching company, which you can see here in a minute, which is Brain Share Coach. He's a business mentor, and he has gone on to not only be successful in their franchise business model, but also has been recognized by the Influence Digest as one of the top business and executive coaches in all of the San Francisco Bay Area. And I love what he's up to. He's up to a mission, he said, to help 2,000 clients build successful, stable, profitable, and thriving businesses that work for them. So please help me welcome to the show here today, Joe Siecinski. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic, Kai. It's an honor and privilege to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, it was great reconnecting with you. And networking, folks, is really where it's at. You never know. Who would have thought 2016 you'd be on top of your game here in 2021 and on my show? So thank you so much for being here today. Appreciate it.
It's an honor and privilege. Thank you for inviting me. And it's going to be some fun. Let's have some
I
fun.
agree. I told everyone that warning, high energy here. You're going to love this. But I know we were teasing. We said that HP in Silicon Valley, Hewlett Packard is sort of like guaranteed issue as you're born in the Silicon Valley. Everyone has to do a stint at one of these large companies, and yours is no different. My husband spent some time at HP as well. So tell us a little bit about your journey to coaching, because I know you didn't just wake up one day and say, "I'm going to be a coach."
No, not even close. So I actually was born in France, raised in Missouri, and grew up in South Korea and live out here. So
Wow.
I spent 6 years in the military and then went to work for HP and had a phenomenal career. Loved the company. Started out as an engineer, helped run a call center, went into management, sales, marketing. My claim to fame was the global services manager, and I took my big stock option and cashed out in 2007 and was going to go to retire. And my goal in life is to buy an island and make it a scuba diving resort and coaching business. And executive coaching, come in for the weekend, do some scuba diving, get some recharge, and get some education. Want to earn more, learn more. So and I retired in 2007 and was ready to go do that. And then 2008 hit.
Jeez.
and all my real estate and my investments, you know what happened. And I said, oh, it'll bounce right back. And I kind of put on my snorkel, scuba diving reference.
Good on
Eh,
son.
And I said, oh, 6 months, a year went by, and 18 months. And I said, well, I got to do something. And as I looked around, I saw so many businesses struggling. And I
Yeah.
went, well, I can help them because I've got all this knowledge. I've done sales, I've done marketing, I ran operations. So I'm going to go help them. So I went to go help them.
I love that.
Well,
Well,
guess what? I struggled. I was failing miserably. I remember the day like it was yesterday. I'm in my home office, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm crying. I had 3 clients, and I had the knowledge, but I didn't have the tool set to actually help them. And that's when Action Coach called me up and said, hey, here's what we do, and we have a tool set. So that's when I actually bought the franchise, got the tool set, took that, and actually started helping businesses. And that's when things started moving forward. And I kind of still struggled until my coach says, Joe, where do you live? And I said, well, Silicon Valley. I said, yeah, but a lot of other coaches are being more successful than me. And he's like, where do they live? And I'm like, well, all over. He goes, Silicon Valley's different. And I said, it sure is. And he's like, you've got a much higher education level there. You've got a different thing. So for me to be successful, what I had to do is I had to start reading books, getting additional certifications, taking my game up a whole nother level. And that's when my business actually started pivoting, started moving forward.
Well, you brought up, go ahead, so many things. I'd love to elaborate on some of these. Henry, do you mind?
No, that's what we're here for, to have some fun and help people.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you for your service. And I feel like military uniquely sets people up to be disciplined enough to do their own business. And so I appreciate your service in there. And I love your transparency because I don't think any business starts, right? 90% of them fail in the first 10 years anyway, but no business starts and goes straight up to the top. And I think there's not, so just to rest assured, tips, tricks, and hacks for entrepreneurs. There's not one entrepreneur that I don't think has cried in the bottom of their closet, questioning everything. Like, did I do the right thing? Am I nuts? What have I done? And so in that moment, you could have gone back to a job. What kept you in that game? And people call it their why or whatnot, but tell us why you didn't succumb. Because I see people all the time, I'm an entrepreneur, and then they succumb back to W-2'd employee all the time when it gets tough.
Going back to getting a job, and I thought about it, and literally, I I was in that perturbation mode where you got all this pressure coming in. It's like, what do I do? And that's when I'm just going to say the universe reached out to me, and I got a call that said, "Hey, here's what we do." And I don't know
Mm.
what I would have done if that hadn't happened, but it was like, I don't know, I want to say destiny a little bit, but my goal was to help businesses, and the universe kind of reached out and helped me a little bit.
Yeah, you manifested that,
I
right?
I believe so. If Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and everything else, it was the right thing for the universe, and now I have the privilege of helping a lot of businesses.
And living your dream. So, I know that you're really big into education, and I appreciate that because I'm a constant student. Like, people make fun of me with how many classes and how much money I spend on my education, but I'm really not using my college degree. So I might as well get another college degree in something I'm actually interested in. So how important has that been, like investing in you, investing in all of these things at the end of your name? Because you've got a lot of them.
It's one of my mentors said, if you want to earn more, learn more. And that's it, it's that simple. If you're not reading, if you're an entrepreneur and you're not reading the books, E-Myth Revisited, Traction by Gino Wickman, Scaling Up by Vern Harnish, if you're not sure what to read, give me a call. But because there's so much out there, and trying to figure out what piece you need at the right time. My coach, he says, okay, Joe, here's what you need right now, and here's what you need now, because it's a journey. You talked a minute ago about you start here and you think you're going to go here, and it's more like this than anything else. And those deep um, uh, downward cycles, you got to pull yourself out of. I mean, Tony Robbins is great with a lot of his content. He's a little rah for me, because I've got a lot of energy as it is,
I
but
was going to say,
his content is fantastic. And it's really simple. You want to earn more, learn more. So if you're not reading at least 2 books a month, let's get started. And you don't necessarily need to read. You can listen to them, or at least get the abstracts and get the base core information. I mean, most books are 80% fluff, 20% information. Get that 20% information out of them.
and I appreciate you say that because, like, I have a book club, personal development, business development book club, and I need that accountability because otherwise it'd be easy for me not to do. So sometimes baking in some accountability, putting it in your schedule, would you agree, is big as well?
Well, yes. Well, and for me, the calendar is everything, because I live by my calendar, and it adjusts based on the business. So every night, for me, reading helps me go to sleep. So it's 20 minutes a night, and I read, and then it helps me go to sleep. It relaxes. Unless it's a really good book, which sometimes it happens, and I get reading, in a couple of hours, but with most business books, that doesn't happen. Harry Potter, it did.
Well, good. You got to feed the other side too, right? It
Yeah,
can't be all
well,
business.
you can't, it can't be all business. You gotta, you've got to recharge your batteries, and that's critical for everybody. If you don't recharge your battery, you don't have the energy.
Yeah, no, and you've got great energy. And so would you say then what makes you different is your education and the books that you've read? And it sounds like you attend seminars a lot too.
Yeah, I attend a lot of seminars. How can I help people if I don't have the knowledge to get them to the next level, or the next level, or the next level, and understanding that whole spectrum of from startup to exit, and having those skills, knowledge. I mean, the NLP certification was something that really helped me understand and frame things appropriately for my clients.
I love that. And it's interesting because I've interviewed now, I mean, well, I know thousands of people that are very successful, but like literally interviewed now 46. And the reigning theme, and the reigning theme is definitely, work harder on yourself than you do on your business, and everything else will seem to work out. But and there's just patterns. Like that's one of the main patterns I've noticed is interviewing these successful business owners. And I'm sure you going in and being kind of you said you're a big picture thinker, looking at these businesses and looking at thousands of them over these last, years. What would you say is the pattern you've seen that is most common that leads them to struggle?
So, well, first of all, that quote is from Jim Rohn. Work harder on yourself, and I love Jim Rohn, man. He's one of the originals, along with Nightingale and some other ones. But what I really see as the struggle is, one is setting that ultimate goal. Not only that ultimate goal long term, but breaking that down into shorter term goals, and then allocating the appropriate time to achieve those goals. People get, especially Silicon Valley, everybody's going at 150 miles an hour, and people don't take the time to stop, actually plan what you need to do, and then do it, and then regroup and say, okay, where am I at? How much progress have I made? Setting that ultimate goal, putting the plan in place, allocating the time. And when I say allocating the time, I mean actually block it off on your calendar. And then every week, you're reviewing your calendar every morning, every night. Time is our most valuable asset. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. How you utilize it will determine the success of your life and your business. And that doesn't mean that you work all the time. I actually schedule downtime and vacations, and hey, you got to have fun. And when business becomes fun, it's really cool. And business should be fun.
Yeah, if it wasn't fun, you should go back to a job.
Exactly. You don't know how many people I say that to. It's business should be fun. When you know the path to get there, it is fun. When you're struggling with what is that path and where am I at, or I'm stuck, it's not fun.
And we are at the end of a year, which is a great time to recalibrate. Especially over the holidays, there's some downtime. Do you have any great resources for somebody who wants to maybe take a stab at goal setting? I think the average American, spent more time picking out a greeting card, birthday card for somebody than they did designing a life. So, where do you have any great, resources or goal setting workshops that you could recommend? Is there any resources you could give these people that maybe they're just starting out, they don't have a budget, they have no money at all to start planning?
So at the end, if you go to my YouTube channel, there's actually a video called Destination Mastery, and it actually walks through on your goal setting. And or you send me a message, I'll send you some goal setting sheets. There's lots of different ones. I have one in my book also that's setting your goals. But it doesn't take that long to set a goal, but it must be a SMART goal: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, or results oriented, and time framed. Otherwise, it's just a dream or a hallucination. So set your goal, and it's got to be a SMART goal. Otherwise, it's just a dream. And then put the plan in place to get there. It is simple. It's not easy. And get somebody to help out. I mean, I've got two coaches. I've got, I can't, and no one has got to where they are by themselves. We've all had help. So whether it's a accountability coach or whatever you need for wherever you're at, get some help. I know I have to have that, and most people do.
Yeah, and coaches need coaches too. And I love that, right?
Yeah,
And kind of a game changer for me is always this we do a daily accountability where we bounce on something for 30 minutes every day. People are like, how do you do? I'm like, I really don't have to work. So doing that really helps me stay focused because what's easy to do is easy not to do. It would be easy for me to not do it, but I know I've got to be accountable. So I really appreciate you saying that.
yeah. Good habits are hard to keep. Bad habits are easy to start.
So true. And then I want to ask you a little bit about like allocation of time because you said that that's really really important. And it is easy to get spun, especially if there's social media. You could scroll hole forever, see what your competition's doing. It's just there's a lot of distractions.
Uh, I,
One, do you have a tip for distractions? And number two, where should they allocate their time? So this is a two-part question. How do we deal with the distractions right now? It's never been more distracting than ever. Working from home, kids, internet, everything's dinging all the time. What are your thoughts on that?
well, one is actually put together your calendar. So that because most entrepreneurs have to wear multiple hats. You're the sales manager, I actually have a video on that. A sales manager, you're the VP of marketing, you're the VP of operations, you're the CEO. You got to wear all these hats. And in the different modalities, you're usually very good when you're in that modality, but when you're bouncing between modalities is when you lose your time. So I use this little cube timer. I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on that for 30 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes. And the dinger goes off. And it's just like in school. Hey, guess what? Algebra ended. I'm going to English class, although English wasn't my favorite subject, but the dinger dang, school bell rang, you go to that class. You don't just sit there and keep going. And then you come back to it and do your homework at night or whatever. So by getting that discipline of your calendar, here's what I need to work on, it doesn't mean that it owns you, but you make a conscious decision on whether to keep doing it or not. The worst things are things like social media. I had a client that we actually had to turn off his Facebook, that because he would go into his Facebook and do his social media marketing, but he'd get stuck there.
Yep.
So we outsourced that to somebody else so that he could focus on what he needed to accomplish. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no, I am obsessed with your cube. Where do I get that? Like, and it really is a timer?
Yeah, it's a timer, so it's actually like, okay, I'm going to say I'm going to spend 60 minutes on this, and I click the timer on, and I just click it up, and in 60 minutes it's going to go off. I'm going to put it for 15 minutes right now, so that we'll hear this or 5 minutes, and we'll hear it, and that way it goes off, and you make a conscious decision. Then, do I keep working or not? Conscious decisions are always good. It's the unconscious decisions that cause problems. It's when you get into Facebook mania where, oh my gosh, 4 hours went by and what did I do? I didn't do what I was supposed to be doing.
And I really loved your school analogy because I think that's one of the hardest things for, somebody who's, been programmed from, 14,000 hours of school, then programmed at a job like to punch in or punch out or right. And then now you're self-employed. I mean, it was a difficult transition for me. Like, oh, I don't have to do anything if I don't want to do anything. But yeah, you could be broke too. That'll be great.
And that's the key right there is we're humans. Humans are like electricity and water. We follow the course of least resistance. So, so it's like, doing the things that we need to do. I mean, Brian Tracy's "Eat the Frog" on procrastination,
Great
or
book.
Stephen Pressfield's "Do the Work." These are all about procrastination. But for me, having that calendaring system that says, "Hey, I decided months ago what I need to be doing." I make a conscious decision. If I want to get to where I want to go, I need to do this, and it makes it easier for me and for a lot of my clients.
I really do love that. And then the second part of that question was so the timer thing I've always done, but I'm getting that cube. The second part of that question was given you have this much time,
Yep.
It's difficult to know, how much do I spend on R&D? How much do I spend on planning? How much do
Okay.
I spend on sales and marketing?
So
Maybe you could address that a
perfect. So
little,
first you have to define what your modalities are. CEO, operations, marketing, sales, maybe travel in the old days before COVID.
right?
What are those modalities that you need to be in? Now, my rule of thumb is 50% of your resources should be allocated to sales and marketing. Now, when I say resources, that could be time or money. It could be soft money or hard money. But without sales, you have no business. So
Right?
it's I don't care how, if you can have the best mousetrap, but if nobody knows about it, they're not buying it.
And I feel like that's like a dirty word, like, oh, but I have the best widget ever. And then they're like, well, it's called sales. And they're like, no, I don't want to do sales. I'm like, then you should probably go get a job as an engineer, then make this thing, right?
Okay, can I tell you the story?
Please.
I used to run the service department, and I hated salespeople. They caused me all the problems in the world. Traditional thinking like a salesperson. What one of my turning points was when I figured out, or my training helped me figure out, that sales isn't about selling; it's about helping people. So my definition of selling is educating a potential client enough so they can make a conscious decision on whether your product or service will improve their business or life. My job is to help improve people's business and lives. I don't, we don't sell. And I mean, half the sales books up there talk about this. The 1 Minute Sales Manager by Spencer Johnson. I mean, you could go on, strategic selling, it's all about helping somebody. When we're helping somebody, we're not selling. We're finding a solution that helps them. And that's what, one of the things that changed me is, I if I can't help you, hey, I shouldn't suck up your time, because time's our most valuable asset, and that's okay. When we incorporate that into our businesses, hey, we're here to help people, and if we can help them, great. If we can't, next, it's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not afraid to walk away from somebody. I had somebody who said, so I can buy a legal plan and ask a $30 question and cancel. And I said, you can, but I'm not going to sell it to you. I mean, I think not everybody's your client, but in the beginning, it's hard because you're desperate. You need the money.
Oh yes, I. So one of my guarantees is in 4 months I pay for myself, or I give you all your money back. I've given money back twice in my 12 years of doing this, and I should have never taken those clients. But you've been there. If you haven't been there, you will be there at some space of time. You take a client that you probably shouldn't because you're hungry, and we all have to do that to learn. My dad told me, you can learn from your own mistakes or from others. Oh, did you hear that?
I'm getting one. I love it.
That's our 5 minutes. So my dad said, you can learn from your own mistakes or others. Joe, why do you always have to make your own? So all these books talk about the mistakes that other people have made.
Yep.
Learn from them. You don't always have to make your own.
Great. Yeah. No, if you're struggling in something, there's someone who's already cracked the code on it. Might as well
Yes.
take, not have to take all the time they took. They wrote a book about it, read it. And yes, I'm so with you on that, Joe. I appreciate you saying that. It's interesting too, because, you're probably on the other side of money, right? You've retired, and I feel like I'm in a similar boat. So everyone asks me like, why do you work so hard? You're a freak show. I'm like, I know. I love helping people. What motivates you to keep working and keep, doing what you've been doing when you probably don't have to?
Hey, my right before COVID, my wife asked me, when are you, one of my goals is to go buy an island, make it a scuba diving resort and an executive coaching resort. And right before the COVID hit, she goes, "Well, when are you going to go do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, maybe." Well, then COVID hit, and I'm like, "You know what? There's a lot of people that need help right now." And to me, that's what motivates me, is like, when I see somebody's face change, or like last night, one of my clients called me up and said, Joe, I got an offer to exit my business, and it was more than what they expected or what we had planned on doing. I got goosebumps. I did the happy dance for half an hour. That's what motivates me to keep doing this, is when my clients reach and achieve their goals, and I've had the privilege of helping them. It's such a cool feeling. I mean, you get it too when you're able to help somebody, even if it's that 2 millimeters to get to where they want to go. And I'm having fun.
Yeah, I think like during COVID, especially, I helped a lot of business owners navigate. I mean, they weren't making any
Yes.
money. They couldn't afford to hire an attorney, and we've got affordable rates. So I felt this moral obligation. And what else was I going to do? Sit around and do tiddlywinks? I mean, it made me not focus on the pandemic, and I made more money than I probably have made in a year in a long time. So it's your focus, right? It's not hocus pocus. It's like, it's
Hey,
not gonna be
well,
magic.
well, here's a fun one for you. FOCUS is an acronym for follow one course
Course
until
until
success.
successful.
And that's the other thing that I see a lot of with entrepreneurs is what I call SOS, which is shiny object syndrome. Oh, I can go make money here. Oh, I can go make money here. I can go make money here. And they lose focus
Good.
on where they're going. So avoid SOS, shiny object syndrome, with focus. Follow one course until success.
Okay, listeners, that was what you were here to hear. I've never heard that SOS, but that's so true. Like you can't ride two horses at one time. It's
Oh,
impossible.
I remember one client that I had and she was just getting going, and she goes, "Well, I'm going to do this and this and this and this," and I'm like, "Okay," and she goes, "Well, Sir Richard Branson says, have 10 businesses and 10 sources of revenue and have this and this," and I'm like, "Yes, but you don't do it all at the same time.
Right.
Get one going." And then add on another one, and then get that going and working without you, and then add in another one. If you try to do everything at the same time, you're going to do nothing very well.
And I think that's the spinning plates, right? You get one going and you get another one.
Well, you get one going, and then you have somebody else hold it for you.
Right. I love that. And I know we don't have much time left, which is such a bummer because I have so many other questions like at what point should you outsource and when does that make sense? There's just so many. So we're going to have you seriously back on the show. But as we're going into the end of the year and we're going into a new year, is there one piece of advice that you would tell business owners that you're telling your clients right now, maybe a mantra, maybe an idea that would really help them take advantage of 2022?
Yes, stop, take a step back, figure out exactly where you want to go, define your goals, and then put your roadmap in place and your time allocations to achieve that. It's not going to work exactly the way you want, and that's okay. It's going to be some of this, but once you have the roadmap, you can get there. If you don't know where you are and where you want to go, you're going to end up somewhere and probably not where you want to be.
I agree, and it won't look pretty. I mean, if you want to be perfect and successful, you might as well go do like nothing, like sit at
Th-
home and do nothing.
There is no perfection. 80% is more than good enough. So, the hardest thing is to get started.
Yep.
I mean, it's that first step is the hardest one.
I love it. So just do it and do it messy and plan, do review. And if you wake up and you don't like where you're at, you're not a tree, you can move.
I love that. I'm going to borrow that. Is that okay?
Yes, I'm going to borrow your SOS. Are you kidding? What do they call it? R&D in our businesses, right? Which is rob and duplicate. So
Yep,
I'll give you credit a couple times and then it's yours, vice versa.
absolutely.
Well, Joe, you are fantastic. If somebody wanted to, engage with you, continue the conversation, find out about some of your amazing resources, what would be the best way? And I think I know, but tell me first.
Well, you can give me a call at 408 899 6737, and my team will set an appointment with me. I always a free consultation, sit down and figure out what we can do to help each other. My job is to help people. Or email me at joe@brainsharecoach.com, or visit our website at brainsharecoach.com.
Great. So there's his information. Take a screenshot of it, what have you. Make sure you've got that. And if you want to make, seriously, if you want to make the next year look better than your last year, you should probably reach out to somebody, whether it's Joe or anybody, and get some help, right? Especially if you're a business and you're struggling and you really want to take advantage.
Yeah, I'm not the right one for everyone, but find the one that is for you. And on my website, there's a way to actually interview for the different coaches that are available. And so interview some, find out what's the right one for you, and
Great.
it's okay.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And hey,
Okay.
everybody, this has been another amazing episode of On the Fly with Kai, where we come to you every Thursday, 10 a.m. for 30 minutes. I bring you tips, tricks, and hacks from entrepreneurs that I actually know, that I trust. I like to introduce great people to my tribe, take some time off your learning curve. So if you're a budding entrepreneur and looking to do something, struggling, or at the finish point, these are all great tips every single week that can help you. Just so you know, next week, we have another awesome interview. And then the 23rd and the 30th of December 2021, we will not be here. So we'll have a 2-week hiatus and we'll come back to you again in 2022. So we'll see you here next Thursday. Take care. Take charge. Thanks again, Joe. We'll see everybody over the top. Bye-bye.